And welcome back to the channel where we talk about only good comics. I'm Brant, and this is Friday First. This is the series where we talk about those brand new number one issues, new character debuts, new story arcs, and the like. And this is the first episode of year two of this show. So before I get started, first of all, since we're talking DC All In, I had to pull out the Superman highlighter green hat that I wear maybe twice every 5 years or something like that. Um, for the occasion. And I do want to thank everyone that joined us for the live stream last week. And if you watched the post live, thank you for that as well. Appreciate my good friend Kat for jumping on and helping me celebrate 1 year of Friday First. And we had a good time. We had a good show. Had some comments live, had some comments post live, had some interaction. So it was a fun time. But now we're into year two and we're ready to talk about some comics. Kind of just synced up with the start of All In and the Absolute books and all that stuff. So yeah, great time to celebrate an anniversary. And so let's get into some recaps from books that we talked about last week. So we're going to start with I've only got four, and I forgot to create a graphic for one of them. So oh well. But the first one we're going to talk about is Storm issue number 1. I wasn't sure if I was going to pick this up or not. We'd been talking about over on Comic Book Weekly how we, specifically Mike and myself, we kept trying like Storm series and stuff, and just nothing ever quite stuck with us. But I was hopeful, a new era of X-Men. Most of the books have been really solid, at least at the beginning. So I tried this one out, and it's not a bad book, not a bad book at all. The direction is solid. They've, truly established where they're taking this character. To kind of set it up, Storm is now the protector. She's got like this fortress in the sky, and now she's really playing up the goddess protector role in this post-Krakoan thing, and trying to make herself basically, a superhero role model to look up to and to know that you have her protection. It starts off with her and Frenzy saving a bunch of people in this town where like there was this nuclear reaction, and all this stuff. And so we're kind of establishing her heroic side, but in the process of it, we find out that the cause of it is a new mutant. And so that kind of makes everything fall apart. But in the process, Storm gains some new abilities. And I'm not going to say how she gains these, but that's what transforms her costume. We've seen the new costume, the kind of the white with the lightning bolt. That's what transforms her into that. So interesting direction to go, and making her once again a legit goddess and all of that. But at the same time, the way the story was structured, the art style, it just wasn't for me. So I don't think I'll continue with it, but I do think it's an interesting direction to take Storm. So I did want to point it out. And if you're a big Storm fan, or you're a fan of the creative team, or you like what they're doing with the character, that's great. Keep reading this series. It's just not for me. That's all. Next up, we have Hyde Street, issue number 1. This is from Ghost Machine Image Comics. And this was an interesting book. Not really my type of story, but at the same time, it was really interesting because, okay, so I really loved the TV series Mad Men when it was on. And this kind of plays into that a little bit, because our main character here, Mr. X-Ray, used to be one of those Madison Avenue advertising guys. He's supposedly the guy that created the X-ray specs that was in the back of all the comics. So, a lot of nostalgia playing into that. And, for all of us, the red comics back in the day when they had all those crazy ads, all that stuff, like the X-ray glasses, was fun. And playing with that concept, kind of bringing it to life, is a really fun concept to play with. Hyde Street is this place where people that are doing bad things, or hurting people in certain ways, end up on the street. The street exists kind of everywhere. It reminded me of the TV series, if anybody's familiar, From. I think it's on Epix. Really good series. Fantastic. Harold, is it Paranol Pinal? I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but he's from Lost. He's the star of it, and it's a fantastic show. But basically, people end up in this town they can't escape, and they all come from different states and different things. So that's kind of what this reminded me of. High Street is the street that you can access from anywhere in the world, and once you're there, you're trapped there. And there's these different people that have been there for a long time that get points for keeping people there, I guess. I don't know really how it works yet, but there's a scoreboard, and all of them have different points uh, depending on how long they've been there, how many people they've taken under their wing, and all this stuff. You've got this little Boy Scout that's kind of torturing people as well, and Mr. X-Ray ended up being one of these people also. So very interesting opening to it. It hooked me right away. It's got me interested. I want to know how how you get out of there, what happens if you win. I don't know if there is a winning and losing. I don't know. It's an interesting and fun story. The art's really solid, so I really enjoyed this one. The one I don't have a graphic for because I forgot to put it together before I started this is Batman 153. So I'll just be really brief on that. Interesting story here where it's DC all in, so it's not really a relaunch with this book, but it is a new arc taken in a new direction. It's months past, and Bruce Wayne has built up Gotham to be a safer place. There's all kinds of these locations that he's built up, new clinics, new shelters, all this stuff. And Edward Nigma, the Riddler, has a tech company, and he's trying to merge with Bruce Wayne, and he's resisting. And then you still have Mercado involved, and something happens with him in this issue. Vandal Savage is there. There's a new hero on the block wearing the flag, but he's shooting people and coming face to face with Batman. That was not a pleasant conversation. And then you have the bombshell that Batman's brother is trying to steal his company, and it's like, okay, so who's his brother? So here's some clues real quick, and this is a spoiler, so I apologize for that. But there's an owl. We know that Court of Owls is involved, a reference in this issue, but there is an owl that pops up in certain timelines. Owlman from the Ultraman's group. I can't, Injustice Society, whatever they are called. He, in some realities, is Thomas Wayne Jr., Batman's brother. So it's possible Owlman is trying to steal Wayne Enterprises. So that's interesting. I like that twist. It shocked Bruce as much as me. I love a good cliffhanger that leaves us wanting for more. And it's an interesting way to kick this off. It seems like there's a lot going on in Gotham. There's always a lot going on in Gotham, but it's a little bit different. And it seems like there's a lot of mystery, a lot of subterfuge, a lot of, spinning wheels going on. So really interesting kickoff to this new arc, and I really enjoyed it. All right, so the final book we're going to talk about, obviously, DC All In Special. This kicks it all off. This was a really fun read. This gave me vibes of the cartoon because we do establish the Justice League Unlimited in this book. It felt epic, felt grand scale. You're kind of playing to all kinds of fandoms in this. If you're a big Booster Gold fan, you're going to love this because it really digs into his character in this book. If you're a big Darkseid fan, we learn a little bit about Darkseid's plan and how this split universe thing comes to be. If you're a fan of kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit, we kind of do that because there's a tear in reality, and it literally tears through the comic page. And it's really interesting the way that happens visually. The heroes coming together and expanding the forces so that we have this extended version of the Justice League where you can have these special ID cards that enhance your abilities and team you up with people that can enhance your abilities. It's just so cool because it's like, okay, let's turn the DC trading card game into a comic story and plan it in the main universe, but let's split that universe in two and have Darkseid rule one of them. I mean, it's beautiful the way this all comes together. The art is really strong in the A story. The B story, not my particular art style, but I love the contrast of the art style in the Darkseid universe and the Absolute universe. That's very much different, and the very different take on those characters in that regard. And it seems like we're going to, over the course of time, unveil secrets of Darkseid that we've never really known. Like, who is he? What is he? Why is he a constant? And we learn a little bit of that in this book too. So it's just a phenomenal jumping on point to this new initiative. You got the new / classic DC logo on the cover there. It felt special, and no pun intended to the name DC All In Special, but it felt special. It felt, I don't know, it felt just fun and epic, and just I keep repeating myself here, but it was so much more than I thought it would be, because I was trying to go in with metered expectations, because I didn't want to get excited about this and be like, it's just another event. But this feels bigger than an event, because we've established that some characters, their powers aren't working quite correctly. Some people have switched power sets completely. You don't know what's going on, who's where. There's time travel stuff. There's, people trapped in other realities kind of thing. There's just a lot to take in here. And now we get to unpack it through each individual title. So just a really strong read and really strong kickoff to this new initiative. So really enjoyed it. But that's all the recaps that I do have. So we are going to get into the books that we're talking about for next week. All right, we're going to start with our first honorable mention, and that is Blade Red Band issue number 1. This is, a very graphic cover there, by the way. So I apologize for that. I just now realized it. But anyway, if you were a big fan of Blood Hunt and what happened with Blade, and you want to follow that journey going forward to what happens with the character, this is the series that's going to tell that. I think I'm good. I'm probably going to skip this, but I did want to point it out that it is coming out for anybody that is interested. Next honorable mention, we're taking a trip down nostalgia lane for the next 3. The first one is Star Wars Ewoks issue 1, The Caravan of Carnage. I'm actually probably going to try this one out just because I love the Ewoks. I know a lot of Star Wars fans groan about the Ewoks, but as a kid, I watched that Ewok movie over and over again. I loved the Ewoks. I wanted, like, my friend down the street had a few of the Ewoks figures, and I was so jealous, and I wanted to have them, and I couldn't get a hold of them. And it just, I don't know, they were just fun to me, and I always loved the Ewoks, so I will probably try this one out. Wicked, right? All right. Next up, down the nostalgia train, we got the Terminator issue number 1. This is from Dynamite Entertainment, and this is written by Declan Shalvey and Sal Crivelli with art by Luke Sparrow. So, Terminator is a fantastic franchise. Sometimes it's done really well, sometimes it's done really poorly. Whether it's comic or movie or TV, TV did it the best. In my opinion, Sarah Connor Chronicles, the best version of Terminator ever. That's my personal opinion. I love that show. It canceled way too soon. But the franchise is strong, and I'm always eager to try it out. I came in late to the franchise. I started with T2. I missed the Terminator train altogether. But when T2 came out, I was all in. And from that point on, I've been a Terminator fan. So definitely going to check this one out. I also like Declan Shalvey's work. I like, Thundercats and stuff like that. So it says the plans to kill Sarah Connor and her son John have failed, but the genocidal Skynet isn't out of options yet. You just never know with the Terminator whether it's going to be, a strong series or not until you try it out. So that's why it's in the honorable mention section. And finally, one that I probably will skip, but is also from my childhood, is the Toxic Avenger issue number 1. And this is from Ahoy Comics, written by Matt Bors with art by Fred Harper. I'm not familiar with either of their work. I've never been a big fan of Toxic Avenger either. So I'm going to skip this one. But if you are a huge Toxic Avenger fan, I definitely wanted to call this one out. All right, and the next one is our one and only shout out. And I'm shouting this one out, one, because I don't know if this is in a lot of stores because it's Magma Comics, which I'm not familiar with. But I do want to shout it out because, one, it's a cool concept. Day of the Dead Girl. Death is never in the end of the story. Connor Sam Castillo will learn this the hard way when a supernatural serial killer targets her hometown just as she moves back. So, really interesting concept. The art looks strong on the cover there, but this is co-written by Amy Garcia, the actress from Dexter, etc., Dexter, Lucifer, etc., and the George Lopez show, and AJ Mendez, who you may know as AJ Lee from WWE, wife of CM Punk, former wrestler, and so these two have been friends. They've been co-collaborators. They've written comics before. This is their new series, and definitely want to give that a shout out. Now let's get into those ranked books. We'll start with Batman and Robin, issue number 14. This is the DC All-In first issue of this run. New creative team. We've got Philip Kennedy Johnson, from the Superman books. Javier Fernandez on art. Marcelo Maiolo on colors. And so we've got a brand new arc for this. And it looks like in this new arc, Damian is still trying to figure out who he is outside of being, the grandson of Ra's al Ghul, the son of Batman. Who is Damian Wayne? So that's what we're going to explore here. But there's a new threat that involves endless violence, it says here. So that's going to be taking place in this. So I'm curious to see what a new creative team does with the series. And especially that particular creative team, Philip Kennedy Johnson, specifically, he's going to do with Batman and Robin could be very interesting. Art looks strong on the cover there. So I'm really curious about this one. At the same time, this book has been up and down, back and forth, but still, I'm going to give it a promisingly good. Next is a new book from Scout Comics called Final Interview #1, just in time for the season. It is I think it's a 5-issue horror series, maybe. I thought I read that. Yeah, 5-issue horror series. But this is what caught me was it says this is for fans of Squid Games and the game. I'm a big Squid Games fan. I really like that. So, and the cover looked really interesting to me. This dude covered in blood with all these furry masks behind him. It says, mind games, a moral test, pit Tori, Hal, Iggy, and Brett against each other. By the end, one applicant is dead and the other 3 are prisoners. But even larger problems loom. The Red Door, a fanatical terrorist movement, has infiltrated Lifeway. So, yeah, very interesting concept to this. This is by Edward Nugent Borey and Lou Peterson, are the creative team. Not familiar with them, and I don't know much about this. I haven't seen a preview or anything, but, the description caught me, so I definitely wanted to bring this one up. And I am giving this one a possibly good, just again, because I don't know much about it. This one almost completely slipped my radar. I don't know why, but when I was putting together the list, I missed this one, came back to it. But this is continuing the story, the B story of that 2099 series of one-shots that were connected by the Dracula story. So this is the culmination of that. This is Conquest 2099 issue #1. And Dracula has conquered the world, and now he's got his sights on this new vampire homeworld that he's hoping to conquer as well. But he discovers something that is not going to make him too happy. And you've got Nova Spider-Man and the Spider-Woman of 2099, and the first appearance of Spider-Side 2099. So it's a first issue and a first appearance, and it's 2099. And it's continuing that B story that I actually enjoyed. So I'm looking forward to this one. And I'm going to give this one a potentially good. Some of those one-shots were solid. Some of them not as good as the others. So that's kind of why I'm at the potentially. I don't know where this is going to lie, but it is Steve Orlando, who has done a really good job lately with, continuing stories. I love his work on Scarlet Witch. So I'm looking forward to this. I can't say I'm excited about it, but I am definitely looking forward to it. Okay, next up we have Murder Kingdom issue #1. This is from Mad Cave Studios, and this is interesting. First of all, it's by Fred Van Lente, so a veteran in the game. Art by Chris Panda. But this is playing with a lot of themes that I love. It's playing with a little bit of fantasy. It's playing with a murder mystery, and it's got interesting art as well. So it's all over the place and everything that I like. So basically, what this is about is a fantasy-based theme park in Florida where all the cast members start getting killed. And one of the cast members has to become basically a detective and figure out who's killing people before she and all her friends die. And so that is just right up my alley for days. And I really like Fred Van Linthe's writing as well. So I'm actually excited about this one. I'm giving this one a promisingly good, and I'm really looking forward to it. So hopefully it lives up to the hype here that I'm giving it. But yeah, Mad Cave is doing some really strong stuff these days, and this is one that I'm looking forward to. Another book I'm looking forward to always, brand new story arc for Geiger. This is issue 7. We saw the culmination of the first arc, and then we had that one shot with Barney, the two-headed dog. Now we are on to another quest. He's trying to cure his radioactive existence still. So the three of them, Geiger, Barney, and Nate, still together, and they come across this hidden community in the wastelands that offers kind of a taste of what America used to be. It reminds me of like in The Walking Dead when they found the Commonwealth, I think it was called, where it seemed like it was normal, but some shady stuff was going on. So I think that's probably where we're headed with this as well. And it says dark forces are in pursuit of the glowing man, and so yeah, it's like a false sense of security, I think, is what we're going with this arc. So it's going to be interesting. First arc was really good, so I'm really looking forward to this one as well. And I'm giving this one a positively good. Next, we have Sentinels issue number 1. This is from Marvel Comics, and the creative team is Alex Packnadel and Justin Mason. I'm not familiar with either one of them, but the concept for this series caught my attention. And so this is a new Sentinel program that has kind of combined Sentinel circuitry and technology with human, basically pilots. I don't know if they're cyborgs or they're just geared up in Sentinel tech or what it says cutting edge nanotech, and these Sentinels are trying to broach the line between mutants and humans, that fragile piece that exists between them. But can you stay human when you got all this tech going on? That's kind of what they're going to explore in this series as well. But it gave me vibes of like G.I. Joe and that kind of thing. G.I. Joe Mask. What's the one with the mech suits? Whatever that one was back in the day. I can't think of the name of it. But all those kind of franchises, that's kind of what it puts me in mind of, but set in the Marvel universe, and throw in the X-Men and stuff. Their first mission is to capture Omega Red, so you're starting off with a strong villain in the mix as well. So I'm curious about this one, but I'm going to give it a potentially good just because I don't know what to expect truly from this book. Next, we have Transformers issue number 13. I don't think this is a new arc, but this is like a one-off story. This is telling the origin of Starscream, the secret origin of Starscream. We know that Starscream was either killed or left for dead, but now we are going to explore that and it says now the secret to surviving the future may be revisiting his shocking past. So we're not given much information. We're given this very dark image of Starscream, covered in rain that looks like blood or maybe acid. I don't know, but it looks interesting. Daniel Warren Johnson and Jason Howard still in the book for now. But this book is absolutely phenomenal. And when they do these kind of stories in it as well, when you're delving into just like one character and doing a character journey, like I assume this is going to be, the Starscream is a very complex character. You think he's very simple. He just wants power and to rule. But over the course of history, we've seen different sides of Starscream. He's actually a layered character, and an interesting one. His motivations are very unique, and the way that he goes about things to achieve his goals and how he'll backstab anybody to get them. I just think he's an interesting character. So I'm kind of glad that we're not done with Starscream yet, and we'll see where that goes. But it's Transformers. It's Daniel Warren Johnson. It's getting a positively good from me. Next up, we have Action Comics 1070. This starts the new DC All-In era of Action Comics and the weekly series, kicking it off with Mark Waid and Clayton Henry for the A story, Mariko Tamaki and Skylar Patridge for the B story. The A story focuses on Superman, and some otherworldly threat escapes the Phantom Zone, starts wreaking havoc, and Superman has to go in alone to try to figure this out. And I guess it's going to tap into stuff from Absolute Power and World's Finest. So we'll see how that goes. And then on the B story, we've got the World of Tomorrow's Supergirl in that story, this special return to this version of Kara. And it looks like Supergirl is going to be pursuing a mysterious threat that only she can handle. So both Superman and Supergirl going after threats that only they can do. Sounds like a good time to me. You got fantastic creators. Mariko Tamaki's Supergirl is really strong. Mark Waid on Superman, that's a treat always. So actually really excited about this. I'm nervous about it being weekly, but I'm giving this one a promisingly good. And hopefully the wallet can handle it. We'll say that. Next up, we have Green Lantern Civil Core War. Civil Core Special. Number 1. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there. Also by Philip Kennedy Johnson and Jeremy Adams, with art by Salvador LaRocca. So just a phenomenal creative team behind this. This is DC All In. We're kicking off this new Green Lantern thing as it's all coming to a head, what we've been building to for a while. We've got the Premier Theros, who's over the core. He's got his own core, right? I can't remember what they're called, but it says he sends a foe to retrieve the Dark Star Ring from John Stewart, which leads to this plan exposed by the United Planets as a force of evil, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, we're kicking off this war between the core, and maybe we're going to see eventually the Green Lantern Corps take back, control of this space police force, where they've kind of been locked out of it for a while by the United Planets and Theros and his people. So really curious to see where this heads and if it gets me excited about Green Lantern, the larger Green Lantern story, not the main series, but the larger Green Lantern story that I've not been so invested in. So we'll see what happens with it. I am giving this one a promisingly good, though, because of the strong creative team involved. And finally, of course, it's got to be in the number 1 position, Absolute Batman issue number 1, the first Absolute book that we're getting in the Absolute universe, DC All In. Creative team is Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta, with colors by Frank Martin, letters by Clayton Cowles. And this is going to be our first glimpse, aside from the DC All In special. This is going to be our first glimpse into the Absolute universe and into one of these heroic characters, and we'll see what that entails. It says, without the mansion, without the money, without the butler, what's left is the absolute Dark Knight. So, without all of those, what version of Batman are we getting? Is it similar to a version we've seen before? Maybe the Thomas Wayne version from Flashpoint, that kind of dark, grim kind of Batman. I mentioned Owlman earlier. Are we going to get that kind of vibe? Is this going to be something completely new? Is he going to be violent? What is this Batman going to be? I'm here for it. I'm curious to see. I know everybody hates the chess symbol. It is what it is. I don't care. I'm just curious about the book, and I'm giving it a promisingly good, and I cannot wait to dig into this Absolute universe. And that's it for the ranked books. Now I just have a few other anticipated books that I'll share with you real quickly. We've got Exceptional X-Men issue number 2, just continuing Kitty Pryde trying to live a normal life, telling that story, but Emma's getting more involved as we go on. We've got Crocodile Black number 5, been a really strong, interesting series and exploration into mental illness, and so really curious to see where that goes. Ultimates number 5, we've got Hawkeye hunting Captain America, I think. definitely hunting somebody. So that's going to be interesting to see how the this new Ultimate Hawkeye comes into play. I Heart Skullcrusher #6. It's just a fun book, and I just enjoy every single issue of it. Public Domain issue #9. They go to San Diego Comic Expo, but a bombshell drops that might kill all their plans to release their new series, The Domain. So we'll see how that plays out. And then Scarlet issue #5 is the last issue of this mini series before we dive into what's next, which is G.I. Joe. So really excited to see how that ends as well. But that's it. That's all the books we got to talk about this week. Thank you for helping me kick off yet another year of Friday First. And keeping that weekly tradition going strong. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. By hitting that like button, hit that subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss any of the other content going up on this channel. Of course, you can follow me across social media at Only Good Comics and type in onlygoodcomics.com to take you right back to this channel where we talk about only good comics. Until next time, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon.